we begin today with a case that has really captured the attention of the nation in a lot of ways, and that is the arrest of a 42-year-old Kentucky man who was charged in connection with a case out of 2015 that involved the stabbing death of a 6-year-old boy. The suspect in this, Ronald Exantus, he was put on trial. He was convicted of assault, but was found not guilty by reason of insanity in the murder of that 6-year-old boy. He was released from prison early after 8 years, served 8 years of his 20-year sentence, and was released on parole. There was news that he had been down here in Florida somewhere. Well, investigators tracked him down, and they ended up arresting him for failing to register as a convicted felon. Now, Florida law requires folks to register as a felon. He would have had to register within 48 hours with the Marion County Sheriff's Office. And the investigators found him living in a home next to Sunrise Elementary School, they said. So he is now behind bars, charged with failing to register as a felon. But earlier today, I had the chance to speak with Dean Tipton. He is the father of this 6-year-old boy who was killed back in 2015. That is a case that I covered personally when I worked in Kentucky. I covered the trial of this suspect, Ronald Exantus, and I caught up with Dean earlier this morning to get his reaction to what all this has been. The week or so that Exantus was out, because Tipton's comments to a TV station in Lexington, Kentucky, went viral and even got the attention of the White House when he reacted to the release of this man and said, "If I see him, if I cross paths with him, I will kill him." Those were the words of Dean Tipton. And so I talked with him earlier today, and he said there's a sense of relief knowing that this man is now back behind bars. Here's my conversation with him, and I started by asking him how he found out that Exantus had been rearrested. How did you find out about Exantus's arrest down here?
Uh, Actually watching Fox News. We had just turned it on and it come across breaking news with Will Kane, and that's how we found out that he was arrested.
What's going through your mind at that point when you saw that?
Uh, Shock, disbelief, uh, happiness, sadness, everything, all the emotions all wrapped up in one.
It's been, what, a couple weeks now that he's been out on parole?
Yeah, yeah, like a week and a half.
What has that time been like for you?
It's been pretty nerve-wracking. It opened up a lot of scars and wounds that I thought I had healed from, that I have found out obviously I haven't. And it's pretty much the same thing with all my family. Uh, just being on edge, anxiety, uh, breakdowns. Uh, I had to take off from work just because my mental state wasn't in a very good spot.
Dean, this is a case that has been getting a lot of national attention over the past week or so, especially because of what you told WKYT there in Lexington, that if you ever came across Ronald Exantus, you would kill him on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the regrets I have, is not doing it that night. But I didn't know Logan was hurt. I didn't know he had been injured at all. But I think any father would feel the same way. I don't want my kids to have to walk around the rest of their life wondering if this man was going to come back and do the job, finish the job that he told them that he was going to do.
How much have you talked about some of the wounds being reopened? It's been 10 years, and yet, here you are reliving some of these things. How hard is that?
It's like reliving December 7th all over again, that whole time period, and maybe a little worse. because, during that time we had adrenaline going, this time it was just all a shock and kind of caught us by surprise. And it's just sickening knowing that he could get out the way he got out.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I was in the courtroom for the trial. I was there that late night, early morning when the verdict was read, and I remember some of the confusion over the verdict and how he would be able to be convicted of assault, but found not guilty by reason of insanity for the murder of Logan. And I'm just curious what you've kind of learned about the justice system through this whole process.
You mean the unjust system? That's what it is. There was no justice. There was no accountability for who killed my son. Pretty much we were told nobody did it. And it's a disgrace to Kentucky, and it's a disgrace to our nation, knowing that a man can go in and stab a 6-year-old sleeping boy to death and then plead insanity and walk free. We know he didn't walk free because he got the time for the assaults, but he walked free from the murder of my son.
And then after all that, only spending 8 years behind bars before being released on parole. What do you think of that part of it?
Yeah, they say this MRS, whatever the hell this law is that they created, was for nonviolent criminals. How in the world is he deemed a nonviolent criminal, even though it doesn't show on his charges that he had murdered somebody? How do you nonviolently assault somebody with a weapon? That makes no sense to me.
Dean, your family's been getting a lot of support on social media from folks all across the country. We know the White House has said they have been looking into this case. I'm wondering who all maybe you've heard from and what you kind of make of the response to this.
Seeing everybody tweet it out and share Logan's story, it's good to see, because that's the only way we're ever going to get change, is getting it out there and getting it shared, and the people speaking up and being outraged over it. But as far as anybody contacting me, the only person that's contacted me is Mr. Jason Nemus. He's a state representative here in Kentucky. Other than that, and he's contacting us about wanting to create a Logan's Law. But as far as the justice system, the DOJ, the president, our governor, nobody has contacted us and told us anything. We found out that he was arrested in Florida through the news. Nobody has contacted us that, hey, he's back in jail. You all can, breathe a sigh of relief right now. We are finding everything out on our own through social media, and I'm disgusted with Kentucky by not reaching out to us. And I want to thank the state of Florida and Marion County for doing what Kentucky wouldn't do and putting the monster back behind bars.
Dean, I want to talk about Logan for a minute. He was 6 years old. It's been almost 10 years. He'd be 16. Driver's license, all that, those things that you think about with turning 16. And I'm curious how much you think about that and the kid that he would be today if it weren't for what happened on December 7th, 2015.
I think about this every day. I think any parent would think about their son every day, but I often wonder how big he would be. I see his teammates that he played football with in kindergarten. I see them all the time, and they're sophomores and juniors in high school, and I see how much they have grown. And I often wonder You know, how big would he be? What would his personality be like now? I think about him a lot.
What do you want people to know about him? You know, as we focus on what happened to Ronald Exantus here, but you know, don't want to lose sight of your son. What do you want people to know about Logan?
He genuinely had a good, loving heart. He loved everyone, and I know that sounds crazy, but we would be in the grocery store and he'd disappear on us. You could imagine me and my wife with 5 kids running around, and he would disappear, and I would catch him in the next aisle hugging some stranger that I didn't even know, telling him that he loved him. And that's who Logan was. A quick story. It was his Sunday school teacher told me this, and this was like 2 weeks before December 7th that he had done this. But he was at Sunday school, and they were writing down what they were going to give Jesus for his birthday, for Christmas coming up. And Logan hadn't written anything down, and the Sunday school teacher asked him, he's like, Logan, why haven't you written anything down? And he said that he had done given Jesus his gift. He had done gave him his heart. And that was coming from a 6-year-old boy. So that right there should tell you what kind of kid he was.
It gives you some comfort too, I'm sure.
Yes.
Dean, what do you want people to know? And what's next? What's next for y'all as we continue to kind of keep an eye on this situation?
You know, of course, we want to go through and try to push Logan's Law. We want people who we really want to abolish the insanity plea altogether. But if that can't happen, we want these people to be held accountable, not be set free back on the streets. You know, they need to be put somewhere where they can't hurt anybody. And other than that, I would like to see him this monster brought back up on charges federally. He crossed state lines and he committed a felony murder. And we've done research on it. It's called dual sovereignty. And from what I understand, they can charge him again federally if they choose.
Well, he is now behind bars. We will see where things go from here. Will y'all sleep a little bit better tonight?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's the bottom line? What do you want people to know?
Monsters are real, people. And there needs to be a change in our judicial system, not just statewide, but nationwide, to protect our families, our loved ones, our babies. Just keep sharing Logan's story, and maybe together we can make a change.
If Ronald Exantus weren't arrested this week in Florida, do you worry about what might have happened next?
Yeah, because I question myself, what kind of man spends that long in prison and doesn't do a check-in within 48 hours to stay out? I honestly think he was going to run. I believe he was going to try to disappear, because this story's everywhere, and I think he was going to try to disappear.